If sugar cravings rule your life, or you feel crippled by other food addictions and can't gain control over your body, this is the episode for you. I am speaking to Liz and Susan and Kim from our Skinny 60 community about how they broke the cycle of emotional eating with our 60-day reset. A lot of people join our program to work with our dietitians to successfully change their food habits. I spoke to food journalist Wendy Hargreaves a couple of weeks ago on the podcast about how she changed her relationship with food in our community. She did the program earlier this year. And the reason that I invited Liz and Susan and Kim on to share their stories is that they all did the program a while back. Liz was in the beta group 6 years ago. Susan came into our community 5 years ago, and Kim started with us back in 2023. And not only did they get amazing results during their time with us, but they've all maintained their health and positive relationship with food years later. And that's the triumph. I absolutely adore these ladies. They are such beautiful, generous, kind women, and they are beloved members of our community and continue to mentor and support the other women in our group. Oh, the journey that these ladies have been on will blow your mind. You are not going to believe what has happened to them and what can also be possible for you. So let's get the skinny from Liz, Susan, and Kim. Oh, I'm so happy that we could all come together like this. So, listener, get a cup of tea and hopefully you'll feel like you're sitting with us having lunch or something. So, Liz, I want to start with you because you're in the beta group all those years ago. And
Yeah.
what made you decide to join the community? What was it that made you go, it has to be me?
Well, I had taken the decadent detox that you and Karen did,
Yep.
and there were rumblings during that group. I didn't hear an announcement or anything, and I'm like, what? What is this? It's a beta what? And I had such a fear of missing out that I looked into it thoroughly and said, I want to do that. I want to do that.
Wow. And was there, you got really great results from the detox and you felt good, so you knew the food was good? Was it just that you wanted to continue feeling better? Besides the FOMO of, wow, I don't want to miss out on this community.
Well, I was morbidly obese. I wanted to lose weight, which I'd done before and found it all and then some more every time. And this sounded like, well, I knew you from the Decadent Detox, and being in a beta program is exciting for anybody to kind of be the first to see it. And I think we got a little extra attention, to tell you the truth.
You did. Yeah.
So yeah, I had released 30.7 pounds in the 60 days. My BMI went down like 5 points. Blood glucose and A1C got in the normal range. My blood pressure went to normal range after the beta group of the Skinny 60. It was like a miracle, actually.
Oh, okay. It was thrilling. I remember that final call when you shared that. I think that some tears were shared. It was quite amazing. Susan, you then came into the next group. You were in the very next group. So you also did it very early on. And wow, you also got some extraordinary results. So what was it? You had the talk with your doctor, didn't you? And you'd just gotten your lab results back and it was like the,
Oh, I
okay,
got a
Susan,
real
talk.
swift kick from her. She just looked at me. She said, "You're not eating right." And I thought I was. I mean, I buy organic, I try to have balanced meals, but things were clearly a little off kilter. Plus, I have an enormous sweet tooth. And, I heard the results from some of the women in the group, and I thought, oh, well, I've tried everything else. I'll try this. And I have to admit, I was so surprised. I mean, at the end of 60 days, I not only felt better, my skin was clear, my energy levels were up. And so after 3 months, when I went back to the doctor for a new blood panel, she says, "What have you been doing?" And I said, "Well, I joined a group. There was a lot of support, and here I am. My A1C went from 7 plus down to 5.2. My cholesterol dropped 20 points. I had dropped 12 pounds. And I guess the surprising thing for me in all of this was how easy it was. I mean, I joined other groups in the past and it was not nearly as easy. The support was enormous. not only from you, Tess, and the candor in our conversations, but from Megan and the other participants. And when you see that kind of success from other people and the momentum, is just very easy to stick with. So I'm thrilled.
Oh gosh. Oh, it is thrilling to be a part of, for sure. Kim, then several years later, you joined our community and it was equally as thrilling. So what made you go, it has to be me, and join our community?
So the community, it started just as Susan and Liz said, with the Decadent Detox with Kip.
Karen. Yeah.
Karen Kip. Yes, Karen Kip. And it's just amazing. I mean, I loved the juicing. We did juicing. I did the very early one, 7 day, 7 day. And it was so transformational. I can't even just grasp how transformational it is. Just that. And it was pretty easy to stick to. So then then the Skinny 60 program came around. And no one has talked yet. Everyone else was sort of, Liz and Susan were sort of saying some of the things that happened to me as well. But the meals are so delicious. I think that is something that is so groundbreaking about this program, is that, I have a sweet tooth and a savory tooth. So I'm caught at both ends like the ping pong ball. So there's no hope. There was no hope, and my eating, I'm just a disordered eater, and I just couldn't get control. I was diagnosed pre-diabetic in 2017, and that's what made me seek you out. But I had a tremendous weight loss as well. I did 4 cycles. So I had like recipes for a full year. That's what I wanted, to like all the recipes for a full year every season. Yeah. But I lost 65 pounds. And the 65-pound weight loss. So the bathing suit is always the curse of the bathing suit. Never going to put on a bathing suit again. I'll be 60 next month. So when I was 56, I think. And I traveled with a friend to Brazil. And I took so many bathing suit shots because I gotta say, I looked hot and sexy, and I had, it was, I don't know if we get to share pictures, but people will get to look at the profiles, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I wore 3 different bathing suits, and just on Copacabana Beach, with all these little skinny kids, and but that's what really grabbed me, that I had that confidence again. I had my life back. I had my health back. So.
And you had been really honest about how you had family members who had serious health conditions, and that one of the motivating factors for you was that you didn't want to have that same fate. So that was a big, it has to be me for you, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And not only, sadly, not just struggling with these diseases, but passing away from these, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and Alzheimer's. Because you have talked about how the gut, it has like its own brain. It's like another brain. And unhealthy eating fuels the Alzheimer's. And my mother's whole family was taken out by Alzheimer's. So it's not just the struggle. They were dying. And so I was like, please help us. This I have to be the one to transform the family saga, to take that next step.
Change the story. Yeah, which you all did. I want to ask you, Liz, you were very, very honest about the fact that you had been an emotional eater and that you ate everything in sight, whether you were hungry or not. And that this experience helped you change your relationship with food and approach, just like Kim is talking about. So can you share a little bit about what that was like for you?
Yeah, I grazed all day long. I was never physically hungry, because as soon as I finished breakfast, I had something, and then all of a sudden it was lunchtime, and on and on and on. It was. I'm an emotional eater, and then I found out I'm addicted to sugar. I mean, it's plain and simple. That hasn't been said enough in the nutritional circles that you can get addicted to these ultra processed foods, and I was, and the foods, as the others have said, the foods were delicious. I think I sent you once in one of my ending of the 60 days. Well, I'm not a cook, and you said, Liz, you're not stupid. You can read and you can do this. You've done it before.
We did talk about my friend Lynn. I talk about this in one of the first 4 episodes, where my friend Lynn said, when people say I can't cook, she goes, well, can you read? Cooking is reading. If you can
Yeah.
read, you can cook. Now, gourmet chefs, Michelin star chefs, of course, there's a little bit more to being a really great cook with flavors and techniques and so forth. But to be a home cook, if you just follow the recipes and read, and we all laughed, didn't we? Because everybody just started laughing because so many people say, well, I'm not much of a cook. That was what you always said. That was your phrase. I'm not much of a cook.
And it took a long time because I had to stop and Google information on what this means to do to this food. I don't understand that term even. So I think I gained a lot of knowledge besides the food and the recipes, just knowing what this means to do this to this food, which I never knew before. So
Yeah. What kept you going to keep persevering when you didn't know what to do? Was it because the food was so delicious? Was it because you were experiencing results? Was it because the community was so wonderful? What was it that kept you on track when you were going, I don't know what to do?
well, the food was delicious. The community support was just fabulous. The Facebook, I'm still friends on Facebook on my own private page with several of the people that were in the beta group. And
Yeah.
yeah, it just, everything you mentioned. But yeah, I'm like, this is delicious. And I made it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a sense of accomplishment, pride, gratitude about that for sure. Susan, you were talking earlier about the candor in the conversations, and that was something that was helpful for you.
It was
Tell
very
me more
helpful. I
about
mean, I've
that.
been in other food groups, and it's mostly someone lecturing to you. And that just didn't work for me. So on the calls, in the group, on the Facebook page, there was such a relaxed candor between the members of the Skinny 60 that it felt like, my neighbors. These are my friends. And um, I just can't say enough about how that kept me going. I didn't feel like I was an outlier or that my issues were unique because people were candid about what got them into the program. And, we're all here for the same reason, to feel better, to look better, and to be healthier. So I was sold on it.
You say that you've joined a lot of other groups. What is it about community, about joining groups that appeals to you as opposed to just doing it on your own? What keeps you
There was a level of
in
sensitivity
community?
from members of the group. If I said, I don't think I could do this, if I have to eat one more whatever, they'd say, try this,
I remember
try
that.
this. I said, oh, okay, never thought of that. So then I, shift or pivot a little bit, and things worked. And so with a number of individuals in the group and all the varied experiences, there's something in there for everybody. And that's what I found. I tend to be a little bit of a loner, particularly in groups. I'll hide in the back of the room. I know people don't believe it, but I am an introvert. And so there was a drawing out of those moments of hesitancy where I thought, I'm not so sure this is going to work. But then I kept seeing results. The numbers on the scale kept going down. I kept feeling a little bit better. I was getting a little more sleep. So all of these incremental points were adding up. And then I remember someone in one of the conversations said, see, if you stick with it, you'll see it. And I not only saw it, I felt it. And So that's what kept me going.
Yeah. What about your sugar,
Oh, Lord.
your sweet tooth? So Liz was talking about how she was addicted to sugar. You're in that camp. And all of us, by the way. Like, come on, we all love
Yeah.
some sweet stuff. Well, how did that change for you?
Materially. I mean, when I looked at the program initially, I thought, wait a second, there's no ice cream on here. Where's the cookies for dessert? Um, so I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. And I have an enormous sweet tooth. And even now I have to kind of tap myself on the shoulder and say, no, you really don't need a half a pint of ice cream for dinner. You're just stressed. Take a deep breath and try pulling out a soup. So, after about, it was probably after about the first 30 days, I could feel my anticipation of a dessert going away. I didn't necessarily have that hankering for a plate of cookies or whatever. And I was finding myself actually drawn to making the meals. I like to cook, but I was working at the time, and coming home after a long day and making a meal was not high on my priority. Eating a plate of cookies was. But I said, okay, we're gonna try this. So I started prepping in advance. Sunday was my prep day. I made the soups. I got vegetables chopped. I did whatever was needed for the meals that were identified for that week. And it made things so much easier. Things were ready. The salad was all chopped. I just put a little dressing on it and away we went. And I felt better. So it was a good experience and a surprise for me because I didn't think that I was going to be as open to it as I was. And plus, when the meals are so doggone
Oh,
good.
I know we all like to eat really delicious food. So Kim, your savory, sweet everything tooth, as you put it. One of the things that really struck me about what you shared on the final call was that you said, I have a sense of empowerment with food that I never had before.
Mhm.
Take us inside of that journey for you.
Yeah, but as Liz and the others have said, food was an enemy. We were not friends because I just did not know what to eat. And I had such bad reactions. The acid reflux sometimes would put me in bed for days where I couldn't get up. I could not get up, coughing all day, wheezing, just because you can't breathe. It's like the acid goes into the esophagus and the lungs, and you cannot breathe. Like you saw me, using the inhaler because, we're coming out of the summer, so the asthma, can get bad. But those problems were lifetime problems. And so when Susan said there's a candor in that group, it's because we all knew we were onto something. This is something big. That database, the database that's there, and I still go there. If there's something that's going on with me, I can go to that database. How can you eat well in the morning before you go out to exercise? Combining. Things like this. And I remember this now. It's ingrained in my mind now. So yes, I was empowered because there's such a vast education. The addictions are what they are. And it's difficult. It is very difficult. However, the cause and effect that you experience, where if I eat this, I love this, but if I eat it, I'm going to pay. And I didn't want to pay. That was the real sense of empowerment, having a clean, healthy, strong body. It was such a reward that I was just taken aback.
Oh, so there is something about what you're saying. The knowing in your body. So there's an intellectual knowing of, yeah, eating good is good for me. I know I'm supposed to eat vegetables, blah, blah, blah. But, the pint of ice cream is pretty delicious over there, like you were saying, Susan. When you feel the difference in your body, you can't shy away from that. It's so extraordinary. So you're all talking about feeling so much better, and then you wanted to keep doing stuff, and then the learning. So Liz, what did you learn besides the different cooking techniques that you spoke about? What have you learned within the database off the website and the nutrition education that you got that really continues to carry you?
Well, the science was important to me too because I've worked in the medical field my whole adult life. So, uh, as Kim mentioned, the food combining, the formula for the amount of protein we should have by how much we weigh. I mean, I had to have over 100 grams of protein when I first started, and I'm like, how on earth can I ever get that? It just seemed impossible to eat that much. Before, when I was filling myself with something sugary and then something salty, and it never quite filled that hole. It never filled the hole, and this food does, and in a nice way, in a good way, in all meanings of the word good, good to eat and good for me and for us, and yeah, the dietitian helped, the living plate that we
Oh, you
use to,
liked Living Plate. Our community split 50-50. People either love
well,
using the meal planning software or they don't want to deal with it.
I didn't use it totally correctly all the time, to tell you the truth, but I did like that it was there, and it did help me with various things. I'm not, uh, I won't say I'm not a smart computer person because you probably disagree with that too. Like I'm not a cook,
Well, you were able
but
to use it, so I am going to disagree because you were doing all of it. You were doing all of
it
it.
was there. It was there. So the communication from you, from the dietitian, from the Facebook group, from the videos where we talk to each other on Zoom, and then the science of all that you uh, put all your effort into figuring out and then put out to us, and the recipes, and it was the whole it opened a portal to me for the rest of my life.
Ooh, tell me more about that. What was in the portal? What was in there and what's come out of it since?
I didn't want to live the way I was living.
Mm.
I was very uncomfortable. I was tired all the time. I couldn't do all the things I wanted to do with family and friends. And this just opened a portal that you can eat right, you can eat good, you can eat proper, you can be satisfied with food and get healthy at the same time. It's not an either or. And so
Ooh, yeah.
I have it just opened doors to me that I think for the rest of my life now I'm I am full of joy and vitality that Skinny 60 just opened the door to it. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. And you keep walking through the door because you just keep getting stronger and healthier. And you and I communicate via email quite a bit. And it's wonderful to hear the flow on effects, how
And
it
you,
really is a chapter that keeps on giving.
it does. And I was just going to put a plug in here. Meeting you in person in October of 2022 was one of the highlights of my life.
Oh, thank you.
like
It was
like a
so great
superstar.
where we got to have a hug after being on all the Zooms and the emails. And I hope that I get to have the same experience with you, Susan and Kim, because I am in New York and I am in California. It was
Priceless.
so special. And I spoke at an event in Kansas City and Liz came and she was just sitting there and I waited until the end of it and we had this beautiful hug. It was so amazing. So it's something, gosh, what you've all been saying. You come into the community as strangers and then we realize that, like you were saying, Susan, that we're more alike than we are different. And you do make friends and these connections and you do feel seen and heard and that you know people. I experienced that too, holding the community because we're all holding it together. So thank you for being so transparent and open and sharing, as you all did in your own way. Susan, you talked about the connections and that it surprised you and that you're an introvert by nature, and yet you kept dipping into the well. So what did you learn about yourself, just personality wise, that was connected to the relationship with food and the things that you were craving and how that
Well, that's a
changed?
zinger question. um,
Yeah.
for me, it was opening up and trusting. And I found that
Oh,
when my colleagues on the call or on the Facebook page would be asking questions that were so deeply personal, and the responses back, there was a level of trust that rose to the top. And that for me was a game changer. And so when I would ask a question and I would get a really legitimate response back instead of something dismissive or, oh, that's just your sweet tooth talking or whatever, but something very concrete and tangible that I could use, it made all the difference in the world. And plus, when I took those recommendations and suggestions and the feedback and incorporated it into my daily lifestyle, it made a difference. I mean, I became a little more outgoing with people that I didn't necessarily know. I initiated conversations, um, listened a little bit more intentionally, and it's made a big difference even going forward in other aspects. So that was a big deal.
so it was a
It
portal for
was.
you as well. As you were saying, it opened you up in other ways besides your health
It
and
really
your
did.
nutrition.
I thought that going in, this was going to be another sort of prescriptive, eat this, not that, track this, eliminate that. And while there are aspects of boundaries within the 60-day, they're there intentionally. And when you recognize why they're there and you see what's coming out of it makes a difference. There's an aha moment almost every single week for me in this thing. So two thumbs up, two thumbs up.
Tell me about some of the aha moments.
Oh
I
my
want to get
goodness.
inside of that.
Well, my sweet tooth would always get in front of everything. You know, I was looking on the living plate for the desserts. Well, there were desserts, but they weren't exactly what was in my refrigerator or my freezer. So I had to do some serious, let's move this stuff out to somebody else who can enjoy it. So, you know, out went the ice cream, out went the cookie batter that was waiting for the oven for a hot cookie after dinner, you know, those kinds of things. Um, so I just had to do some soul searching and say, this is what's important. This is what's important. And as I got further into uh, the boundaries of the program, the more I liked it, the more I felt better. It was easy to stick with because it was real food. I didn't have to go out and buy a package of this or a box of that. These were real things that I could get at the farmer's market or at the supermarket. I mean, it was real food. And that made a big difference. And so I was full at the end of my meal. And so I didn't necessarily have to lean into the sweets or the desserts. Now, that's not to say there weren't a couple of moments where I had to slide
Of
slide in,
course.
but overall, I didn't miss it. I didn't miss it. And even now, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I can actually say, no, thanks. I don't need that cobbler right now. Thank you.
Oh, pat yourself on the back. We love patting ourselves on the back in this community and patting out everybody else on the back. It's so amazing. I love what you're saying about trust. Kim, I want to ask you about that.
Mhm.
because that was a really big part of it for you as well.
Yeah, it's the embarrassment that, if you have an addiction, if you're significantly overweight, because I'm 5'3" and I was well over 200 pounds. And so, I was talking about the bathing suit thing. It had been probably 2 decades since I put a bathing suit on and went outside. So it's the embarrassment. But the embarrassment would sort of cause me to come into the room and be like a hermit. But as Susan was saying, when you would hear other people share about the challenges that they were going through, not just, disordered eating or addictions, but they had significant health challenges that they were facing, life-threatening health challenges that they were so candid about. That really helped me to feel more trust. And it made me step over a threshold of, holding back and knowing that what you share may be able to save someone's life. Just let it, stop being so judgmental, which is like a thing, with me that I've had to monitor. Being judgmental, being critical, stop being so critical and just let it out and share, because it could help others. They were certainly helping me. So that is where the trust grew.
Yeah. How did the experience open you in other ways?
Mm-hmm. So I was much more outgoing, much more, not only, I would say I'm more of a hermit, but I was a homebody, and I would just get out like 6 a.m. I live in Brooklyn, New York, near the Verrazano Bridge, and there's a long pier about 3 miles. And I would go walk in 6 a.m. in the pitch black dark in the winter sometimes, and walk 3 miles in one direction and 3 miles in the other. And so just becoming more daring. I'm getting into I shared in the group that my side job is I'm a screenwriter.
Yeah.
Writing screenplays for film and television. And so that career is really blossoming now. I mean, I just want to say it was such a struggle, so disheartening. But taking risks and being visible, that was such a hard thing for me. To be visible, to be on camera, to get into social media, all these young kids, and I'm going to be 60. That coming out, allowing myself to be exposed, be vulnerable, is something that Skinny 60 helped with, because you get in shape and you get healthy and you get strong. Your mind is very strong because it's being nourished. So, I gained a new addiction of great results in my life, that I never thought were possible. And I was so happy to be addicted to that more than sugar and pizza and whatever.
Ooh, okay. So this is opening up something that we talk about a lot in the community, about being really clear about what your no's and your yeses are, and saying no to things that you were saying yes to before in order to say yes to the things that you want more. Because we're all hiding in some ways. You were talking about being a homebody, keeping yourself small, not showing yourself. Susan, you were talking about being more outgoing and striking up a conversation with someone that you may not have before, and it opening up other possibilities. Liz, you have had some unbelievable tragedy in your life, and you have been so candid and open about it, which has given other people permission to share their fears, their messiness, their struggles. As you were saying, Kim, it gave you permission, and then you wanted to share more because it could help somebody. What keeps you sharing, Liz? Because I think it's one of your superpowers.
Thank you. Well, um, number one, it's important to me to say my 2 daughters' names that are no longer here. It's important for me to tell their stories,
Mm.
and it might help. It might help some. If it helps just one person or one family, then then I've served my purpose. Uh, when Jenny died in 2005, when she was murdered by her ex-husband, way before Skinny 60. Of course, I couldn't eat right afterwards, but when I started eating again, I didn't stop. And I really thought if I ate enough, I could go join her. And that didn't happen. I just got more miserable and it was harder to do things. I never saw myself as big as I was, even in pictures. I look at them now and I'm like, oh my gosh, I never, I saw other people who were probably smaller than I was and thought, oh, isn't that too bad? She's got such a pretty face or whatever and I don't see myself now that I'm in the body I'm happy with either until I look in the mirror, see pictures, and it's like, oh, is that me? Um, so when Kay was dying of a grade 4 glioblastoma, a very aggressive brain tumor that nobody survives, and only 5% make it 5 years. And she was 2 months short of 5 years when she died. And she had asked me before she died to promise her that when she left, I would not go crazy and eat everything in sight and gain all the weight back. And I said, honey, I won't do that. I won't do that. So this has been a very different experience. Can't say that the pain's any easier either way, but I've physically the felt sense, uh, the feeling healthy, like my lifespan is going to be a health span the whole time, the whole way, is just makes living easier. And life is lifey for everybody, but it just depends on the choices we make and how we choose to handle things. And I think being in a right-sized body, if that's what you want to call it, eating foods that have awakened my taste buds, so I'm really not craving the things I was. It doesn't bother me when people are eating those things around me. Like you say, Susan, the ice cream doesn't call to me. The pizza doesn't call to me. It's amazing. It's absolutely a miracle.
A miracle that you created by deciding it has to be me and embracing change and doing the work. It wasn't bestowed on you. You keep choosing it and you keep re-choosing it, which is what inspires me about all of you. So, Susan, what are you choosing now? What do you want more than the ice cream and the cookies every day? Like the quality of life that you're actively choosing every day?
My mother lived a very long life. She passed.
Yes, she did.
She passed away
Amazing.
a few months shy of 102, and that
And she was sprightly
well,
and
she
on
was
fire,
absolutely
wasn't she?
amazing. Her last
Wow.
week, she was in a nursing home, and her last week, actually the day before she went into the hospice home, she was playing bingo and won $10 and was, whipping around the money. And even when she was in her hospice bed, she was singing a song along with her caretaker there. It was amazing. So that, for me, is my goal, is to meet that or exceed it if I'm lucky enough.
Wouldn't that be great?
And
Yeah.
I'm going to be turning into another decade sooner than I would like to acknowledge, but and I feel good. My energy is good. I can still bend over and pick something up off the floor, and things are where they need to be, and so I'm extremely grateful for that.
You've got a mum like I've got. Like, she is so sprightly and energetic. She's got more energy than I do. It's like extraordinary. So when you have that example, that promise of what life can be like as an older person, it's really quite glorious. So, Kim, because you don't have that necessarily, you were, very candid about your family members having a lot of serious health issues. What's the beacon for you now? Is it yourself and how great you feel? Like these, it has to be me's of putting yourself out there as a screenwriter, turning 60. That's a beacon for me. That's a lighthouse.
So it's just, I feel more empowered to follow my dreams, you know. But like what Susan just said, it's like having a heart full of smiles to the very end,
Oh,
regardless of what you've endured in life, because we've all been, you know, just haunted by horrors, you know, in our lives. And so you can choose to cling to that and make it your identity, or you can say, look, I'm not giving up on my dreams. They will have to put me in my grave, my whole family and all lineage in my grave to get me to stop. I'm not going to stop. So that's sort of the beacon for me, that to prove to myself that, you know, I can do anything and I can go as high as I desire. And I do it not just for myself, but for my family, because, you know, maybe it's like their wings were clipped, you know, a little bit. They succumb to the addiction. It's so heartbreaking to watch one generation after another be consumed by addiction and knowing where it's all going. And so sometimes it's one person who steps out of the saga. It's called a family saga. And then you just tell yourself, this is for all generations, for all generations forward, all generations backward, ancestors, everybody, you know, that this is what it's for. And so this has been my beacon, that we can be a living transformation, a light seed, light bearer or whatever, for not just ourselves, but for our families, the world, our friends, society. So that's what the beacon is. Being a light is the beacon.
yes. I love what you're saying about we've got to step out in order to step in.
Mm.
And when we get healthy and we are the light and we carry the light and we are the light keeper, as you were saying, we give others permission to do the same. Just as you have all been talking about, the community kept giving you permission, kept holding you as you were holding them. We're all holding each other, which is what I love so much about this community. And you all just keep coming back to the delicious food. That's what kept you going. That's what kept you going. The delicious food. I mean, because let's be honest, we all love our food, right? And we want to be eating delicious food. So let's get into that, because I'm excited to hear about some of your favorites. And I know, you know, everyone's always sharing in the group about what they're making. And Liz, what were some of your favorites? Were there some surprises where you went, what's those ingredients? And then you made it and you were like, what?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me interject sauerkraut in here. That wasn't my favorite.
God, I love it how we talk about delicious food and you go to sauerkraut.
Okay. When I was a little kid in public school, and they served lunches, and you couldn't go out to the playground until you ate all your lunch. And I remember, and I don't remember much about that. It was a long, long time ago, sitting there with tears running down my face because I could not eat this sauerkraut, and never could until I started to, you know, and I have like a tablespoon before lunch and a tablespoon before dinner now, practically every day.
I love that you're still doing that.
I liked the, is it an Asian omelet that you put in the oven?
Oh, the baked Asian omelet. Yes,
Okay,
yes,
I liked
yes.
that.
Yeah. Kim, you haven't made that?
I
Susan, have you
haven't.
made
I'm
that
going to have
recipe?
to check it out.
Oh,
Oh, it's delicious. It's
oh,
delicious.
you're in for a treat. That might be the greatest omelet on planet Earth. Oh, you're going to be kissing Liz all over her face through the computer when you guys try that one.
Of course, I really liked all the treats, and I had to cut those out because I couldn't have the suggested amount, you know, in between the meals. But I love them. The lemon asparagus arugula salad. Is that
Oh,
it?
the lemon asparagus arugula salad. Yeah, that's one of my
When I take that to potlucks and stuff, that's just a favorite.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Susan,
I
chime
love it
in.
all.
What are your
I love it
faves?
all.
Are there any
And
surprises?
I laughed when Liz talked about the sauerkraut. I'm addicted to that stuff. I mean, I have a forkful at lunch and a forkful before dinner. I'm still
You're
doing
still
it. I
doing
haven't
it
had a
too.
Tums in years.
I'm a proud mama bear here.
But for me, it's a lot of the side dishes. The discovery of the mashed potatoes with the
Ooh.
olive oil in it was a game changer.
Oh.
It was a game changer for me.
Oh.
And I made that for my last Thanksgiving meal with some friends. And everyone said, gee, this is really good. I said, yeah, it is, isn't it? Nobody missed the pound and a half of butter or sour cream that usually goes with the potatoes. But it was so that
God bless olive
absolutely.
oil is all I
And
can say.
the damp lemon cake, I take that to events, and it's always
yeah.
a crowd pleaser. And the bolognese, come on, that is so doggone good.
Oh yeah, the bolognese is the most popular recipe in the whole thing. Out of hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah,
recipes,
that's a
everybody
good one.
loves
That
the
and
bolognese.
the African stew. I never thought I would like
Oh, that's
the
another
water
big
chestnuts
taste.
as much as I do. Those are great. So those are my favorites.
Water chestnuts are just a gift. They are such a lovely surprise because they
Mhm.
just stay crunchy. They stay crunchy. Doesn't matter what you put them in. Doesn't matter how much you cook them. Oh my goodness. I love when new people discover water chestnuts, and they're like, oh, that's not just for Asian dishes. You can put it in all of these things, right? Oh, look, the damp lemon cake. Have you made that, Kim? Have you made that, Liz? The cake. Oh, you guys. I love that you're introducing each other to things you haven't made before. The damp lemon cake. Do you know what's so great about that cake? Well, first of all, it's so easy. Blend, pour in the springform tin and stick it in the oven. You could not find an easier cake. But it freezes so well. So, I know that you live alone and it's so great to be able to make it and then slice it and then put it in the freezer and it just freezes so beautifully. But Kim and Liz, we're going to have a little thread now, the four of us. Have you made it? Have you made it? What's going on? We're going to have this great convo about that. Kim, what were some of your faves?
So Susan hit it, that the African stew, that's a drop the mic. It's a drop the mic recipe. It is and dish. It's just so delicious. And I was introduced to yeah, and so easy. I was introduced to water chestnuts because I used to make my own egg foo young.
Yeah.
So so the African stew and the roasted tomato basil soup. Those soups are so delicious. So the roasted tomato basil soup with the almond crackers, they're my icebreakers. So I take them everywhere. I take the almond crackers to work. I'm a court reporter by day. Like, that man, like that girl. At night, I'm a screenwriter.
You're the court reporter with the crackers in her purse.
Yes, and I bring those and share them with everybody because I couldn't believe that the menu had snacks. It's like, snacks? We were like, we can have snacks. We can have cake. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe, and there's pizza recipes too, in the. Oh my gosh! So those were like my favorites. Those are my favorites: African stew, roasted tomato basil soup, and the almond crackers.
Oh yeah! Listen, soups are like my thing. I like to make me some soup. The dreamy green soup. If I want to wow somebody with a soup, that's one of the ones that I do. Wow. I'm just so thrilled that you're all making sauerkraut still. Or eating sauerkraut, I should say. That's okay. Good, better, best. We don't care. Buy it. What's so great now is that because fermentation has just exploded, that there are so many amazing commercial options. They sell it at Costco. It's extraordinary. Kim, are you still doing your sauerkraut practice like Susan and Liz?
I'm not. I need to get back to it. I completely forgot about it because, it's getting a little acid refluxy. Sort of when your stomach starts doing that, you have to be careful of everything. So I wasn't taking the sauerkraut, but I think I'm going to try it again to see if it'll help. We'll see.
Yeah. And listen, we're not grading anybody here. It's like, here's the cool thing about this box of tools. You take what you like and you leave the rest, right? And you're all figuring out how to make this a sustainable lifestyle your way for what's working for you. And I think at the end of the day, that's what makes this a freeing journey, that we're not doing it. We don't have to do it the way everybody else is doing it. You just get this box of tools and you figure out what's going to work for you. So when we think about food and relationship with food, and you all talked about how important it was for you to feel healthy and strong as you age, you've spoken a little bit about the internal dialogue that goes through your head and what motivates you to stay on track with better choices. And it doesn't mean we don't eat the cake. It doesn't mean we don't eat the pint of ice cream when we want to. But what is that internal dialogue with yourself now? And how has it changed? Liz?
The internal dialogue is, I have a large family, 7 children, 12 grandchildren, 10 greats with 2 on the way.
Wow.
The
A lot
internal
to live
dialogue,
for.
the internal dialogue is, I want to enjoy them. I've got these 2 new babies coming, one in September and one in December, and I want to see them, and I want to see them more than just when they're babies. And the second thing is, I don't want to be a burden on my children. I want to be healthy my whole life. Yeah, your mother's a wonderful example, Susan, and your mother, Tess, and I'm among the elders now too. But I really, and I know we can't choose, and I know that people eat healthy and get horrible diseases too. So I'm not saying that. I want to do everything I can to make sure that I'm as healthy as I can for as long as I can, and enjoy life as much as I can with my family and friends.
So your why is very strong. This huge family that you are the matriarch of, and they know they love you dearly. I remember when you did your video testimonial and your grandson came over to set it up for you. It was so sweet. Do you remember that? Oh my
Yeah,
God, you can send me the picture. It was so adorable. So your why is very, very strong. Susan, you spoke before about wanting to surpass your mother at 102, playing bingo and being sassy. I remember you emailing that to me. She was sassy till the end. So what's the internal dialogue besides that about your mom and wanting to age well? What else are you leaning into that's a really potent why for you?
When I'm feeling a little off center, I pull myself up and I just say, okay, what's really the issue here? What's triggering you? And it's usually not the first thing that comes to mind. It's something usually a little bit deeper. And I have to ask myself, are you going to feel better after you go sideways and eat a plate of cookies? Or are you going to feel better by getting into a better track of eating and finding a way to soothe whatever that upset is? So for me, it's always doing an internal check-in. What's really bothering you?
What's your internal check-in, Kim? Like how do you play out the movie, so to speak? Susan's playing out the movie.
Mm-hmm. So for me, there was sort of 2 things. And one was being visible, like, so it's not superficial, but it's like how you feel as a woman, the value, feeling valuable, valued, attractive, desirable. And it's like, I hadn't dated, here we go. I hadn't dated anyone in over 20 years. I just like sort of, because gaining weight and feeling undesirable. And so I started dating again. And feeling, being in a man's presence when you're not, with not a lot of clothes on, and not being worried, not feeling ashamed, not feeling embarrassed, like I want to go run and hide. And, because we do this, we walk past the mirror, we're like, oh. We always have to have some comment about our bodies. So a body positivity was something that really helped me feeling more positive, not just the weight loss, but just accepting that this is it. You're healthy, you're strong. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. But the other thing was with the addictions. I was talking about how the pizza had such an addiction on me to another woman who was very healthy and slim. And she said, I work at a college and there's so much pizza. There's pizza, pizza, pizza. And it occurred to me that what I was craving is not scarce. It's highly abundant. And I think that's what happens with addictions. There's this sense of scarcity that the pizza is not going to be there. The cupcakes and the cookies, which I was highly addicted to, they're not going to be there. So I got to get it, and I got to get as much as I can, in a short amount of time. And so understanding that all those foods that I had thousands of times in my life, as much as I wanted, and the damage that it did, was what transformed for me that it's not scarce. It's lots of it. And if you want to have a piece of pizza, I started making my own pizzas. That was how I sort of checked myself. I made my own pizzas. If I want a pizza, you got to make it. You're not going to call up an order. If you want a cupcake or a cookie, you have to make it. You put the labor in, the sweat. And that's,
Well, you just go over to Susan's house.
Yeah. It might be kind of dangerous over there if she's got cupcakes and cookies,
She's playing the movie out. She's not doing it every night. It's all good. So we may have to pick our night when the cookies are ready. I love what you're saying about scarcity and abundance and really sort of changing the story about what that means. That really resonates deeply with me. And can I just tell you, I breathed that into my heart when you said that you were dating again. And I saw Susan and Liz do the same thing, and allowing yourself to be seen again. I think that that's something that we share in the community a lot, isn't it? And you've all been speaking to this a bit about being vulnerable, allowing ourselves to be seen in the community, and seeing the other people in the community and accepting them however they are showing up today. So thank you for being so courageous and brave and sharing in our community and sharing today on the podcast and holding space, because the three of you have all been that lighthouse for other people in our community. And when we give ourselves permission to be vulnerable, we give others permission to do the same. So thank you so, so much. I always close every episode with the same question. So I'm going to ask it of all of you within the context of what we've been speaking about. For somebody who has a dream that they want to be healthier and stronger and doesn't feel like they have what it takes to make it happen, what would you say to them? Liz, what would you say?
Say, you are worthy, you are enough, and you got this. You can do it.
Thank you.
I'd say
Susan.
don't hesitate. Jump in with both feet. What have you got to lose? It's 60 days. Give it a shot. You'll surprise yourself.
Kim.
So I wanted to say that Skinny 60 for me, and hopefully for others, is the gift that just keeps on giving. It's an abyss. There is no bottom to the amount of joy, happiness, freedom that you can get. It's not just a diet program. It's not a diet program. It's a whole body wellness, body, mind, spirit wellness program. So, and transformational.
Oh, thank you for spending this time with me. I love you all so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Tess.
you.
Oh, what incredible transformations. My heart is so full of gratitude for the courage of these women to share so openly in a public forum like this. I mean, they've never been on a podcast before, but by sharing their fears and their messiness and their struggles and their triumphs, we get to dream bigger and understand our choices better. Because the cycle of emotional eating and food addiction, disordered eating, can be really hard to break, but you can, just like they did. I mean, Susan was eating sugar every single night. And then by nourishing her body and feeling joy with beautiful fresh food, her sugar cravings diminished. And she wanted to keep eating well instead of grabbing food from packets. And Liz was literally eating herself to death because the grief was so palpable from the tragedy of her daughter's murder. She wanted to go and join her. She was using food as a weapon and eating anything and everything in sight. And then she was able to flip the script and use food as a tool, learning that you can feel satisfied with food and feel joy and get healthy at the same time. It's not an either or an all or nothing thing. And when Kim said food was my enemy, that I was stuck in a spiral of disordered eating and food addiction, and I just couldn't get control with food. I hear this all the time. So you've got to decide it has to be me to change. And the miracle of change, once you decide you want it and you actively are living inside of it, they gave that to themselves, those transformations. They didn't get it didn't get bestowed on them. They just kept choosing it and they kept re-choosing it. Now it helped because the food was incredible and they were feeling amazing, but sometimes the hardest thing is just getting started. And the key is great food. It was fun to talk about all those delicious recipes and all their favorites, that you end up craving healthy food. And that's my superpower, is making really, really delicious, exquisite, healthy food that you're going to want to keep eating. Healthy eating's easy when you love the food that you're making and your friends and family can enjoy it too. I loved hearing those stories about Liz taking the lemon asparagus arugula salad to potlucks and everybody loving it, and Susan eating the African stew and the mashed potatoes and the damn lemon almond cake with her friends at Thanksgiving, and Kim enjoying the pizzas and the roasted tomato basil soup and the crackers at work. I loved when they said they've got new addictions now. They're all addicted to health and vitality and confidence and the control that they have over their lives, the agency that they now have. It was funny, them talking about how they're addicted to sauerkraut because it makes them feel good and they feel the benefits of their digestion. I mean, who would ever think that? But I hear this all the time. You hear any of the other podcast episodes with members, everybody talks about the sauerkraut. I mean, can you believe it? But it was interesting what Susan was saying about I'm addicted to the sauerkraut because it helps me so much. I haven't taken a Tums in years. It's a great reason to eat the sauerkraut. They're really talking about reframing your yeses and your nos. What are you saying yes to? And saying no to the things that don't make you feel good in order to say yes to the things that you want more. And I think it's about anchoring to your why. What is your internal dialogue and how can you change that? Is it serving you? Susan now wants to exceed her mother's longevity and be healthy over 100. So she does that regular check-in. That was a good tool to steal, wasn't it? Just encouraging herself to go deeper. What is the real trigger? Do I want the sugar? What do I really need right now? It's not actually the sugar because I know that's going to make me feel bad. I want this more. And for Liz, the why is about wanting to be healthy for as long as possible so she can do everything she wants with her family and friends. Her why is really strong because she's got such a huge family and she's the matriarch of the family. She wants to see her children and grandchildren grow up and not wanting to be a burden on them. I loved when she said, "You are worthy, you are enough, you've got this, you can do it." What a great mantra for everything. I'm going to steal that too. And for Kim, it's about breaking the family cycle of disease and premature death. And for her, it's about confidence and self-esteem. She asks herself, how do I want to feel as a woman? It's about body positivity. It's about feeling attractive and desirable. And when she talked about dating again after 20 years, I knew about the putting the bathing suit on, which I loved. But, oh God, I mean, that just pierced my heart in the most beautiful way. And I loved how they were all sharing how they were doing it their way. How doing the 60-day reset is not about one path. They're all making it work in a way that works for their lifestyle and personality. You get a box of tools and you take what you like and leave the rest. And the power of community, how we're all allowing ourselves to be seen in the community, giving ourselves permission to be vulnerable, and then choosing to see everybody else, however you're showing up today. We're all holding space for each other and teaching each other, and how they all made friends. And they weren't really sure in the beginning, Susan was saying how she was a loner. Liz was like, kind of held back. And then, the trust grew for all of them. They heard other people sharing, and by other people giving themselves permission to share, gave them permission to share. And then the flow on effect, they're paying it forward now. They're sharing, and that gives new people permission to share. How it was the honest conversations and the vulnerability with the members that kept them going. They realized they weren't alone. They felt seen and heard, that other people were experiencing similar things to what they were experiencing. And then they were getting real solutions, tangible advice that worked for them, that was tailored to their needs, and it worked. So they wanted to come back in, dip into the community, and keep getting more advice. I think that it really does start with permission, giving yourself permission to break the cycle, permission to want more for your life, to want change, to break away from your family rules or the cycle that's not working for you. Permission to be vulnerable, permission to ask for help, permission to ask for what you want out of life, and then permission to do things your way. It doesn't have to fit into someone else's box. I loved what we were talking about being the light keeper, being the beacon. When you get healthy and you turn your light up, you carry the light. You are the light keeper. You give others permission to do the same. So be courageous and brave and decide it has to be me to be the light. And I mean, you can't argue with those concrete results. I mean, Susan dropping her cholesterol by 20 points, her A1C going from 7 to 5.2, losing 12 pounds. Her skin was clear. She was sleeping better. Her energy levels soared. She just feels so much better. And Liz was obese. She lost over 30 pounds in 60 days. Her BMI went down 5 points. A1C and blood pressure went into normal ranges. She's now eating to live, in complete control of her body and her life. And Kim weighed over 200 pounds, was pre-diabetic, and had chronic acid reflux that was debilitating, that left her in bed, chronic inflammation. And she lost over 65 pounds. She was with us for a year. She regulated all of her levels and got her health and confidence and her life back, and then some, a new life. All of them did. And they have sustained their results. It is possible. It's not a one and done thing. It's not a flash in the pan and then you're going to rebound. You can sustain these results. And how getting in a healthy body and mind opens up so many possibilities for your life. I loved when Susan said being vulnerable in the group and choosing to be, when she was previously a loner in other groups. She's now more trusting and outgoing and striking up conversations with people. That's opening up new possibilities that she would never had before. And how Liz saying that Skinny 60 opened a portal to the rest of her life. That she's now, what did she say? I'm now full of joy and vitality, and I can do so much more with family and friends. And Kim following her dreams with the force of thunder and love. Nothing's holding her back. She was a hermit, and now she's putting herself out there dating and turning her hobby into a thriving career as she turns 60. Because her mind and body is strong, she feels great about how she looks. So she's taken life by the balls and deciding that she can have whatever she wants. I hear these stories all the time. When you get healthy and strong, nothing is holding you back. And you just go after what you want. Your it has to be me's just get so stronger. And you start trusting your intuition and going after what you want. Oh, come into the love bubble, as our members call it. It opens up so many more choices for your life. So if you want to join the next group, I would love to meet you. We'd love to have you, and you will meet some of our beautiful members. You can learn more about the next 60-day reset at ithastobeme.com/reset. And if you're not quite sure if this is for you, get on a 15-minute call with me. You can book one of those at skinny60.com/call. And I'd love to hear more about your story, so we can decide if the 60-day reset is the right fit for you. So let me know what resonated with you from this conversation. Put a review up or put a note in the Facebook group. I'm excited to hear.
I want to hear about your It Has To Be Me story. So head on over to ithastobeme.com/stories to share it in our free community. You can also join the conversations we're having about this episode and others. I'm Tess Masters. Join me next week and we'll dive inside another great story to help us go from dreaming to doing.